Jamaican-born Leon Edwards is the new mixed martial arts MMA Ultimate UFC fighting champion of the world after he shocked the world in the final minute of the 5th round to win the Welterweight Championship by knocking out the #1 pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, Nigerian-born Kamaru Usman, with a kick to the head and neck in front of 18,371 screaming fans in the main event of UFC 278 on Saturday, August 20th, which was the biggest fight night ever held in the state of Utah. Kamaru Usman, the champion, was dominating the fight and seemed to be just moments away from his 16th consecutive victory, which would have tied an all-time UFC record before Edwards came up with what has been described as the most shocking moment ever in UFC history. According to UFC.com, Edwards was down on the judges' scorecards 37-39 to Usman by all 3 judges, entering the 5th round and staring down a one-sided loss. But Edwards set up the fight-ending kick beautifully, pawing out with his left hand to get Usman to slip his head off the center line, causing the champion to duck into the left kick coming behind it. His shin landed flush, Usman crashed to the canvas in a heap, and Edwards became the new UFC welterweight champion of the world, snatching victory and championship gold from the jaws of sure defeat, sending the sold-out crowd into a frenzy. Usman, who was less than a minute away from a 6th title defense, was knocked out cold on contact. According to Edwards, "I can't put it into words," unquote. The Salt Lake City fans inside the octagon at Vivint Arena initially started the night by chanting for Usman, but at the end, the same crowd was chanting "Rocky, Rocky, Rocky," which was Edwards' nickname. "Look at me now! Look at me now!" Leon Rocky Edwards exclaimed. Leon Edwards subsequently became the new UFC welterweight champion of the world and the first Jamaican and Caribbean UFC world champion. It all began in Kingston, Jamaica, where Leon Edwards was born, but moved to the UK at the age of 9 with his parents and was raised in the Aston area of Birmingham, England. Tragically, 4 years after young Edwards moved to England, his father was shot and killed in a nightclub in London when Edwards was just 13. A few years later, while walking with his mother in Erdington, Birmingham, Leon came across the Ultimate Training Center gym being built, and it was his mother who encouraged him to join the MMA club at the age of 17 to get him off the streets. "I didn't really know what MMA was. There wasn't much of it in the UK at the time. My mom could barely afford to pay membership fees, but somehow she made it work," unquote. Leon said it was through fighting and MMA that Edwards found his passion and focus and would go to the Ultimate Training Center several times per day, every day. A few months in, he asked the gym manager if he could work there teaching younger kids so he did not have to pay dues, and so it became his full-time passion. He quickly became interested in the skill and training necessary to become a world-class MMA fighter. Just 8 short months into his training, Leon Edwards had his first fight at the gym, which he won, and from then on his prowess began to grow. Edwards knew this was what he wanted to do and was meant to do, as he was a natural at it. This experience humbled the rising star and caused him to fight even stronger and train even harder. Edwards began his professional fighting career in 2010, making his debut as an amateur at Bushido Challenge 2, A New Dawn. Edwards won his first professional fight via submission, and it only got better from there. He then signed a contract with Fight UK MMA and won his second fight via technical knockout in the first round. He had 2 more fights for the promotion, winning against Paweł Zlewka, and losing against Delroy McDowell via DQ by way of an illegal knee. He progressively got better, winning match after match after match. Edwards quickly graduated to fighting in the UFC, the premier of MMA fighting. He soon rose to become a prolific fighter, but this was not all smooth sailing. When Leon was reaching the height of his fighting career and was scheduled to take on Tyrone Woodley in March 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and several events were cancelled, which led to Edwards taking a 425-day hiatus from professional fighting, and the UFC had removed him from the UFC rankings due to inactivity on 22nd of October 2020. However, on December 19, 2020, Edwards was scheduled to face undefeated fighter Khamzat Chimaev in the main event of UFC Fight Night 183, but it was cancelled due to COVID-19. Edwards faced Nate Diaz in his comeback fight and controlled a vast majority of the bout. He stunned Diaz baldly with punches late in the 5th round and led him to win the fight by unanimous decision 49-46, 49-46, 49-46. Edwards, 23, is undefeated, dating back to his previous bout with Usman in 2015. The Jamaican-born British fighter rose to number 2 in the welterweight division, while accumulating 9 wins in that stretch ahead of the title bout. With eyes on the top spot in the UFC, Leon looked to the welterweight belt to take on next. Kamaru Usman was the world champion and an opponent he had faced before. Edwards faced Kamaru Usman way back in December 2015 and did not fare too well. In fact, he lost to Usman back then by unanimous decision and was one of the 3 losses he ever had in his professional career. But this did not deter Leon. Determined to prove his eliteness, Edwards took on Usman on August 20, 2022 for the UFC Welterweight Championship in Salt Lake City, Utah. He lost the 2nd round, he lost the 3rd round, and that's when the panic started to set for me. Unquote. His coach Dave Lavelle admitted in an interview, "I knew I had to do something. His body language, he wouldn't look me in the eye. He was slumping in his chair, he looked dejected. I was like, this is not you, son. What is wrong?" I had to shake this kid out of his slump. We're in a world title fight, and you're sorry for yourself? You didn't come this far. All this work you put in over the last 6-7 years to come to this country, and you're going to bow out like a lamb? You're content seeing this fight out without giving it your all? Unquote.
Wasn't obvious enough. Leon is broken. You're ashamed, and he's embarrassed right now of his own performance. This is how you know a fighter is broken, and Leon right now is broken.
Tired and bruised, these words broke the shackles off Leon, and he came back in the 4th round with a new sense of fire in his eyes. By the 5th round, Edwards was a new fighter and knocked out the former UFC welterweight champion with a kick to the head to take the Performance of the Night award and the UFC welterweight championship belt.
Sonnen was having his way with Anderson Silva when Silva sort of pulled victory from the jaws of defeat. But this, top of the food chain.
Top of the food chain. Nothing compares.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
Nothing compares. It's the greatest head kick knockout in the history of the sport with the most consequences, the most at stake, the most doubts.
Yeah.
The most people counting him out, including us.
Yeah, Joe.
In recent memory.
I don't even know what to say. It was spectacular. We saw so much happen tonight, and it was absolutely spectacular. I don't even know what to say at this moment right now. It was spectacular.
It was an emotional victory for the man who became the first ever Jamaican UFC champion. The magnitude of the victory became very clear in a video captured by the UFC that saw Edwards jump on his phone backstage to call his family. As he walks down the corridor, he shouts to the camera, "I told you! I told you, Mom! I told you I'd do it!" With his family clearly ecstatic on the other end of the phone line as they scream and cry for joy.
You know, this felt like a movie. The UFC staff played the Rocky theme after the fight. And during the Rocky theme, Leon is on the cage celebrating with the belt, and the crowd's yelling, "Rocky, Rocky." It was a movie.
Me accomplishing this, not just to me. I said it all week, ain't just to me. Because I know people that grew up where I grew up. I'm going to go to Jamaica as well and just show the kids that, look, I was born just like you was born. With nothing, you know. And
if you believe in your country, believe in your team, you can achieve it. And that's what I did. I went out there and I achieved it from a little small gym in Birmingham. And it's a crazy story, you know. Everyone knows my story. And from being born in Jamaica to now winning the UFC World title with them.
For me to be able to come back now to the UK, I'm going to go to Jamaica as well and just show the kids that, look, I was born just like you was born. With nothing, you know. And I changed my life, I changed my family's life. So just dream big and dream often and just focus and do your thing. And
yeah, wow.
You took kind of an unprecedented step this week and said, hey, if Leon wins, we probably got to do a rematch. Do you still believe that's the case?
I mean, how do you not do Wembley? I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
I was going to ask, you want to do it in England? I mean, ideally, would you want to do it in England?
Yeah.
Edwards, I can honestly say, and so did my broadcast partners, we all agree, this was the greatest head kick knockout that we have seen in the UFC, especially because of the circumstances. Leon Edwards was down. He was losing to Kamaru Usman. He was down 3 rounds to 1, and he was going to lose the 5th. But he found the perfect head kick to make him the champion.
Leon Edwards is a legend and will go down in history as not only the first Jamaican UFC champion, but also one of the best UFC fighters in history. Leon Edwards, Jamaica and the Caribbean is proud of your accomplishments. Let us know what you think of Leon Edwards and his accomplishments below. Please like, subscribe, share our channel with others, and turn on the notification bell for our next video as we celebrate Caribbean accomplishments together. This is J-irie Caribbean. See you in the next video.